Good morning and thank you for being here. When COVID-19 hit Los Angeles 18 months ago, we didn't know the full scale of what was to come for our city. But we knew that government needed to do everything it could to help people survive economically, physically, and emotionally. Angelenos were not only losing their family members, friends, and neighbors to this virus, but they were also losing their jobs and primary sources of income. In the last year, children were learning remotely, and many parents left their jobs because there wasn't any available childcare. Before the pandemic, too many Angelenos were already living paycheck to paycheck. But March of 2020, with unemployment rising in Los Angeles, we knew we had to do something to make sure that the roof over their heads due to this unforeseen global pandemic did not leave them homeless. Because that's what government does and what it should do, is step up and help the neediest among us. We knew that once the pandemic had this potential to hit our local economy and families hard, but the City Council had to jump into action. Last year, when we received the CARES Act funding, this council worked quickly to establish programs that would provide direct assistance to Angelenos. We created grants for rents, childcare, utilities, small businesses, and nonprofits. We funded these programs because we knew it was the best way to help Angelenos through this pandemic. A roof over their heads, childcare so that parents weren't forced to choose between work, their families, and internet for our children to continue learning online, and relief for businesses here in Los Angeles. We established eviction moratoriums, utility debt relief programs. I am so proud of this council and what the city has done to establish the largest, and I'm going to say this again, the largest rental assistance program in the nation, allocating $100 million for rent relief whose ability to afford housing was affected by this pandemic, and then we doubled that once we received the second round of funding from the federal government. Our efforts became a model for the nation through President Biden's American Relief Plan, and it mirrored the priorities that Los Angeles established early on during the pandemic. It shows us, and we should all be really proud of everyone here in Los Angeles, that Los Angeles knew all along that these were the types of programs that working families needed to get through this pandemic. But it's not over, and we need to continue to help Angelenos who still are behind with their rent. Our demand for rental assistance has been greater than the allocation that was given to us. More than $500 million in rent relief reported in 2020 alone. That's $500 million that we still need to be able to meet everyone's demands. That's why I'm proud to stand here today to announce the application that is now open for the Housing is Key program. This partnership between the city and the state continues our promise we made to Angelenos early on in the pandemic, and we will make sure that we get through this together. With the new funding from the state, 100% of qualified rental assistance requests will be met. For those of you who are on the wait list for months, you will be the priority. And for those of you who have not yet applied, there is an opportunity starting today to seek that help. Through this program, money will become available, and it would be to put renters at ease, that we hope that we can get to as many of them as possible. Renters and landlords are desperate for this help. The assistance will not only support the families that have fallen behind in their rent and living paycheck to paycheck, but it's also critical for the mom and pop landlords in our city who are struggling over the past year to make their mortgages and to sustain their buildings. This program will bring working families one step closer to recovery. As president of the City Council, the largest city in California, I am so proud to work alongside the governor and the mayor to provide the needed help for so many families here in Los Angeles. So go to housingIsAKey.com to learn more on how to apply. We will go through this together to ensure that as many families are covered for this assistance. Before I introduce Lourdes Castro Ramirez, the Secretary of Business, Consumer Services, and Housing Agency for the state of California, I'm going to make some short Spanish remarks for Spanish media that is here. Cuando COVID-19 ocurrió en Los Ángeles hace 18 meses, no sabíamos qué tan grave iba a ser la situación. Sabíamos que muchas familias iban a quedar sin hogar, no nomás estaban perdiendo seres queridos, amistades, vecinos a través de este virus, pero también se estaban quedando sin trabajo y sin sus negocios. Durante esta pandemia, nuestros niños tuvieron que aprender en la casa y muchos de los padres tuvieron que escoger entre sus trabajos y cuidar a sus familias. La demanda para poder pagar la renta incrementó aquí en Los Ángeles y muchísima gente se quedó en necesidad. Ahora estamos anunciando un programa reconociendo que hay muchas familias que todavía deben muchísimo dinero de la renta, pero estamos estableciendo estos programas y asegurándonos que con la asistencia del Estado vamos a tener mucho más dinero para poder proveer la asistencia que se necesita. Estoy muy orgullosa de este concilio y de nuestra ciudad por establecer programas, el programa más grande de asistencia de renta en la nación. Distribuimos más de $100 millones al principio de la pandemia y luego doblamos esa cantidad cuando llegó la asistencia federal del gobierno y pudimos asistir a mucho más familias. Nuestro esfuerzo fue un ejemplo para la nación a través del plan del presidente Biden, American Rescue Plan, que reflexionó las prioridades de las personas que vivimos aquí en Los Ángeles. Por eso estoy muy orgullosa de estar aquí para anunciar que estamos en colaboración con el Departamento de Vivienda en el estado de California para poder poner disponibles solicitudes para Housing is Key. Esta nueva asociación entre la ciudad y el estado continúa nuestra promesa que hicimos a los angelinos a principios de la pandemia, que vamos a poder superar esto juntos. Con los nuevos fondos, 100% de los solicitantes calificados para asistencia de la renta va a poder ser concedida. Lo hemos establecido desde el principio de la pandemia y estamos también nos damos cuenta que hay muchísima gente en lista de espera y esperamos que vamos a poder proveer asistencia para esas personas. Y para las personas que todavía no han aplicado, a partir de hoy puedan aplicar para asistencia de renta para que se les pueda ayudar. Esta asistencia no nomás es para las personas que se han retrasado en sus pagos de renta, pero también para los negociantes y propietarios de estos edificios que también se han retrasado en sus pagos para pagar esos edificios al banco. Este programa ayudará a muchas familias trabajadoras de nuestro país, de nuestro estado, pero también de nuestra ciudad. Estoy como presidenta del Concilio de Los Ángeles muy orgullosa de poder tener este programa en asociación con el gobernador Newsom y el alcalde aquí de Los Ángeles, nuestro alcalde Eric Garcetti. Vayan a housingkey.com para más asistencia, para poder llenar la aplicación y juntos vamos a poder superar esta pandemia. Muchísimas gracias. Ahora me da el placer de introducirles a ustedes la secretaria Lourdes Castro Ramírez para darnos la bienvenida. It is my pleasure to introduce to you Secretary Lourdes Castro Ramírez, to welcome you and give us and provide a few remarks from the state. Thank you.
Good morning. Council President, thank you so much for your leadership, and thank you to the entire LA City Council. We also thank Mayor Garcetti for this partnership, and on behalf of Governor Newsom, we're excited about growing this partnership with the City of LA. Today is the first of the month. Today is the day that many families that are renting their units have to pay their rent. And it is by no sort of coincidence that we are announcing this program today on September 1st to ensure that all Angelenos, all renters that have been impacted by this pandemic, that are unable to pay their rent or pay their partial rent, and landlords that are also struggling to meet their mortgage, that they're able to receive the assistance that they so need to stay stably housed and to keep a roof over their head. And so we are excited about bringing the California COVID-19 rent relief program to its fullest here in the city of Los Angeles. We are prepared and ready to work with the leadership of LA as we open up the application process. Since the start of this rent relief program at the state level, we have been able to serve over 36,000 households across the state, and with a total amount of $425 million. And as the council president said, we know that this pandemic has disproportionately impacted lower income households. So it is our commitment to ensure that the additional dollars that have come in to expand the program are made available to renters so that they're able to stay housed. We're not, out of this pandemic by any means. We, know that we need to continue to be vigilant, and because of that, we're moving with a sense of urgency. I also want to stress that this program, the rent relief program, is a free program. It's not a program that costs or should cost anyone anything to apply. The application process is very simple, and we have been preparing for the expansion of this program to ensure that all Angelenos are able to have the support of a staff and case managers that are ready to assist as Angelenos begin to apply. Beyond that, we're excited that the many organizations that have been working with the City of Los Angeles to get this program to renters and to landlords, that they will continue to be engaged and involved. So this program works best when community-based organizations are working in partnership with us to ensure that the program reaches all renters and landlords. So we will continue to work in partnership with these community-based organizations. And then the last thing that I will mention is having families stay stably housed has been a priority for Governor Newsom since day one. But we also recognize that we need to do much more to expand housing affordability. And so this year, the governor approved a budget that will bring $10 billion in new housing to build more affordable housing across the state, and $12 billion in funding to expand homelessness services, because we recognize that we need to do much more to address homelessness across our state. So with that, we are excited and ready to work in partnership with the City of Los Angeles as we implement the California COVID-19 Rent Relief Program. And if I may, I'd like to also share some remarks in Spanish. Gracias primeramente, Presidenta del Consejo, Martínez. Muchísimas gracias por tu liderazgo y por el liderazgo del alcalde. El gobernador Newsom, desde el principio de esta pandemia, ha tenido presente la necesidad de las personas más impactadas, de las personas de bajos ingresos. Y es por eso que me alegra mucho estar hoy aquí en Los Ángeles para anunciar esta nueva etapa del programa de ayuda con la renta. Hoy, el 1 de septiembre, cuando la renta se debe de pagar, sabemos que hay muchas personas que no pueden hacer su pago de renta. Y este programa está diseñado para ayudar a las personas que tienen renta atrasada, que deben renta a hoy en este mes o que deben renta al futuro. Porque sabemos que esta pandemia todavía existe y el impacto ha sido crítico, y más para algunas familias. Entonces, hoy abrimos el programa para los residentes de Los Ángeles. Hoy vamos a aceptar solicitudes para personas que rentan su unidad, para propietarios que tienen inquilino que no ha podido pagar su renta. Y quiero enfatizar que el programa es para ayudar con renta atrasada y con renta al futuro. Nuestro programa funciona. Hasta hoy hemos pagado $425 millones a 36,000 familias en el estado. Estamos preparados para expandir el programa con los nuevos fondos federales que han llegado a California y estamos preparados para asistir a todos los residentes de Los Ángeles, sin importar su estado migratorio. Es muy importante que sepan de que este programa es para todos los residentes, no importa el estado migratorio. Y el programa es gratis, no hay algún costo. Tenemos organizaciones listas para ayudarles con el proceso y hemos también simplificado la solicitud. Entonces no toma más de una hora, por lo menos unos 30 minutos. Y el último punto que es muy importante es, sabemos de que para que este programa trabaje mejor es importante de que el inquilino y el propietario traten de colaborar para recibir esta asistencia. Si hay esta colaboración, el programa funciona mucho mejor. Pero también sabemos de que hay ocasiones donde esa relación quizás no está. Y si no está, el inquilino puede aplicar al programa sin tener esa relación y el propietario también puede aplicar al programa. Nuestra meta, en colaboración con la ciudad de Los Ángeles y con los líderes de aquí de Los Ángeles, es de que este programa llegue a todas las familias que necesitan ayuda con la renta. Muchísimas gracias de antemano. El gobernador Newsom está comprometido a ayudar a nuestras comunidades para que podamos sobrevivir esta pandemia y podamos salir aún más fuerte de esta pandemia para recuperar nuestra economía y para fortalecer nuestras familias. Muchísimas gracias. And now it is my pleasure to introduce to all of you the Director of California's Housing and Community Development Department, Gustavo Velazquez. Gustavo and his team are responsible for administering the California Rent Relief Program. And just as a point of note, the state of California has received $5.2 billion to be able to provide this level of assistance. So he's built a tremendous team, and as I mentioned, we're ready to expand this program and bring this assistance. So Gustavo?
Good morning, buenos dias. Keep my remarks brief. I'm here, by the way, together with Jeffrey Ross, our Deputy Director for Federal Programs, who leads this team. And we're so pleased this morning to announce this partnership with the City of LA, with the Mayor, Council President, everybody here. The Secretary started her remarks, and we're very excited to announce this morning. Well, as the Director of the Department charged with administering this California Rent Relief program across the state, I'm here to say we're very excited, but we're also ready. We're ready September 1st as the first day for people in the City of LA to apply to this program. HousingIsKey.com is the website where people will find in different languages all the information they need to apply. It links directly with the application, and there's also a number 1-833-430-2122, 833-430-2122 for people to call and ask questions about eligibility and how to apply. As the Secretary mentioned, we've paid out nearly $426 million across the state. These payments are increasing. Only a few weeks ago, we were paying about $20 million a week. We are up to $50 million a week, and we know with this partnership there will be an incredible acceleration in the number of not only applicants from the city but also payments. Time is of the essence. I was just with Congresswoman Chu just a couple weeks ago, not too far away from here. She reminded us that the federal extended unemployment insurance benefits end September 4. just around the corner. And then the eviction protections across the state end at the end of the month, September 30th. So I cannot emphasize how important it is for you all to help us spread this information, because time is of the essence here. We need Angelenos to apply to this program. We have a team ready for those who already applied through the city program. This is a dedicated team that will go through applicants that already applied, that are already in the queue. But in addition to that, we know the city needs a lot. The need is great out there. So there's a lot of people that have not applied, and we have until the end of this month for the eviction protections to end before apply. Of course, this program doesn't end at the end of this month. Money is not an issue here. This program will continue, but the eviction protections end at the end of this month. That's why it's so important that in the next 30 days, people in the city of LA apply. So again, very excited to be here. HousingIsKey.com will be ready to answer questions here, and we'll be ready to answer questions or interviewing also en español si es necesario. Lastly, I could not emphasize this anymore. More important, that the Secretary mentioned, no immigration status to apply. No importa el estado migratorio para aplicar a este programa. Es muy importante esa información. So, HousingIsKey.com, and I'm going to turn it over to Deputy Mayor Che Ramirez, who will provide further details. We have a great partnership with Che Ramirez across a number of programs to prevent more homelessness in the city, to take care of people who experience homelessness, and of course this is very important. This program is very important for his portfolio. So, Deputy Mayor, the floor is yours now.
Thank you, Gustavo. Good morning, everyone. I'm here on behalf of Mayor Eric Garcetti. But first and foremost, I want to say that I am honored to share in this moment in the presence of Latino and Latina leadership and excellence, from Director Velazquez to Secretary Castro Ramirez to Council President Martinez, who have all continued to prioritize the well-being of our families, our communities, and our renters throughout this pandemic. And today we gather at City Hall to celebrate this key city-state partnership and to raise awareness about the opportunity for Angelenos to access critical emergency rental assistance. Even before the pandemic, our city and state were facing a housing and homelessness crisis. It is important now, more than ever, to do everything in our power to keep our residents housed and prevent more households from falling into homelessness. I'm not only here today as the deputy mayor, but also as someone who has personally experienced homelessness. I know how easily a missed paycheck or an emergency expense can result in homelessness for vulnerable renters in our city. And the city of Los Angeles has taken bold steps to protect renters during the pandemic. Our mayor, council president, have been champions for renters and renter protections since the beginning. We were the first city in the nation to introduce emergency renter protections, which are still in place today. We've invested in eviction defense through our Stay Housed LA network that provides education and free legal services to renters. And in partnership with Council President Martinez, last year we invested more than $100 million in discretionary funds to serve more than 49,000 households with rental assistance. Taking this action early actually helped to push our federal partners to invest in renters and pass the emergency rental assistance funds we are administering today. Our housing department has worked hard to get our first round of federal funds out the door. And today, we are excited to partner with the state to ensure that all eligible renters and landlords are served through the next round of funding. Emergency rental assistance and rental protections are key to keeping Angelenos stably housed and helping folks to avoid the trauma of eviction and homelessness. And now it is my pleasure to introduce someone who has worked tirelessly to serve renters and tackle our housing crisis during this pandemic, our LA Housing Department General Manager, Ms. Ann Sewell.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I'm Ann Sewell, General Manager of the Los Angeles Housing Department. I'm honored to join you, Council President Nury Martinez, and our state and community partners today in announcing this partnership between the state and the city to serve Angelenos in need of rental assistance. In June of 2020, the Council and the Mayor launched the largest emergency rental assistance, no wonder I was echoing. Largest emergency rental assistance program in response to the pandemic in the nation, and our department dispersed more than $100 million in city discretionary funds to provide rental assistance to 49,000 households in 6 months by the end of December. In February of 2021, the city secured another $235.5 million in the first round of federal emergency rental assistance, and we received 77,000 applications in 6 weeks. $235.5 million only covered the back rent for about 20,000 renter households with these funds. For those households, we've completed reviewing the tenant applications and have paid or paying $74 million, and we're finishing reviewing the property owner applications so that we can send out the remaining funds. This new partnership with the state makes more rental assistance available for the city residents that we already applied that we couldn't get to, and for all those who haven't applied already. Rather than stopping and waiting while we seek reallocated funds, the state is able to reallocate to meet the need in real time and continuously process applications, and we're so grateful for that. Eligible renters and landlords in the city can now apply for emergency assistance through the housingiskey.com website, as everyone has said. For Angelenos who already applied to the city's program, the Los Angeles Housing Department has been in contact this week by email to explain the next steps, and for those who didn't have email, we are calling them. All applicants can look at our website at hcidla.lacity.org for more information on their particular status if they missed the emails or the calls. I'd like to take a moment right now just to thank our team, which has been doing amazing work on this, led by Anna Ortega, our Assistant General Manager, and Marcella DeShirley, the Director of the Rent Stabilization Division. We are working with the state to coordinate a smooth transition of the more than 50,000 applicants that we didn't have funds to assist in round one. And we're formalizing partnerships, ongoing partnerships, with local organizations who can walk those applications and new applications through the system. One of those partners who's been involved already on the statewide program and will continue to be involved here is ACE, Los Angeles. And I'm pleased to welcome Alma Quinones, who with ACE LA, who's been working with the Housing is Key program as well as with our Eviction Defense Network. So welcome, Alma. Not Alma. Sorry, switch of speakers. Glad to welcome Joe Delgado, who's been working with us.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Joe Delgado, the director for ACE Los Angeles, the Alliance of Californians for Community Empowerment. I'm excited to be here today to announce the reopening of the portal for Los Angeles tenants. It was just a year ago, tenants from ACE Los Angeles were standing side by side just across the way here at the courthouse, trying to stop evictions that were still happening in the middle of the pandemic as the cases surged. And it was at that moment that the council started to respond and send out some relief and some protections. And we enjoy some of those protections here in Los Angeles that other cities don't have. And we thank the council for that leadership and making sure that, and even after a year when the governor calls an end to the state of emergency, that Los Angelenos will have those protections for a year after that. It is important that the leadership of Council President Nury Martinez helped us get there, and it is also important that the voices of low-income tenants came together to make sure that they weren't left behind. In ACE, we have a saying, no renter left behind, and that means we do clinics 2 times a week to make sure that we're connecting with folks on the ground and getting them the help that they need. One of those folks last year that was standing with us and holding ground and risking her own health to make sure we were fighting evictions is Alma Quinones, who herself is behind on rent 1 year, owes a year's worth of rent. So reopening this portal means a lot to Alma and her family, and I want to introduce her to come up and share her story with you. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Alma Quinones. I'm a proud ACE member in the city of Los Angeles. I want to talk about some of the work ACE in coalition with Housing is Key. Since the beginning of the pandemic, ACE was at the forefront calling for the cancellation of rent or rent relief. We're very excited that the organizing work gave us this program that came out earlier this year. As soon as the program came out in coalition with Housing is Key, ACE was crucial in helping our members and tenants across California to assist them to apply for the relief. so they can get this program that was much needed. ACE helped with webinars, putting out the word, and also to help fill out the applications. In the city of Los Angeles, we were only able to do this throughout April of 2021. As you know, since then, the program has been closed, leaving thousands of Angelenos out. It's so important for me that this rental assistance program was able to reopen. Why? It's important because I'm a tenant in the city of Los Angeles that since April of 2020 has not been able to pay her rent. My landlord destabilized my housing by attempting to unjustly evict me. At the same time, I was affected economically by COVID-19. It's been very hard. Plus, I wasn't able to apply for the program back in April. I had no idea about the program, and just like me, there are thousands of Angelenos that are in the same place that were not able to apply. I'm thankful for the great organizing work done by ACE. Also thanks to the City of Los Angeles and the State of California for coming together for tenants like me to make this reopening a reality. Hola, mi nombre es Alma Quiñones. Soy una orgullosa miembro de ACE Los Ángeles. Quiero hablar sobre algunos de los trabajos de ACE en coalición con Housing is Key. Desde el inicio de la pandemia, ACE estuvo a la vanguardia pidiendo la cancelación del alquiler o alivio de renta. Estamos muy emocionados de que el trabajo de organización nos haya dado este programa que salió a principios del año. Tan pronto como el programa salió en coalición con Housing is Key, ACE fue crucial en ayudar a nuestros miembros e inquilinos en todo California, ayudarlos a solicitar la asistencia de renta, de manera que puedan obtener este alivio de alquiler que tanto se necesitaba. ACE ayudó con seminarios de web, corriendo la voz para completar las solicitudes de los inquilinos. En la ciudad de Los Ángeles solo pudimos tomar ventaja del programa durante el mes de abril 2021. Sé que todos ustedes saben, desde entonces el programa ha estado cerrado, dejando a miles de angelinos fuera del alivio. Es tan importante para mí que podamos reabrir este programa nuevamente. ¿Por qué? Es importante porque soy una inquilina que desde el abril del año 2020 no ha podido pagar su alquiler. En plena pandemia, mi arrendadora desestabilizó mi vivienda con un desalojo injustificado. Y al mismo tiempo me vi afectada económicamente por COVID-19. Ha sido realmente muy difícil para mí. En abril de este año 2021 no pude ingresar mi solicitud de ayuda de alquiler porque el portal ya estaba cerrado. Previo a esto yo no tenía idea del programa. Al igual que yo, hay miles de angelinos que están en el mismo lugar, que no han podido aplicar para el programa de asistencia. Estoy agradecida con el trabajo de la organización ACE, el trabajo que se realizó también gracias a la ciudad de Los Ángeles y al estado de California por unirse y hacer esta reapertura del programa una realidad. Muchas gracias. I will now hand it over to Council President Nury Martinez. Entrego este lugar a la presidenta Nury Martinez.
Thank you, Alma. Now if I can just have the secretary and Ann come forward because there's any questions from the press.